Well, hello, beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. I am Cody Montarbo, the founder of Montarbo Skincare, and I got my ride or die with me here today.
Crystal.
Oh my God. Remember Crystal? She's still with me.
Remember?
Remember?
Little sidekick.
Little sidekick. She ain't going nowhere. We're just doing a lot of different content these days, and we're so excited to be with you and share a lot of stuff. We're kind of filming two things at once. So I apologize if our eyes are a little off and stuff. We're looking into this camera while filming with that camera so that we could just create different content for different platforms. So we thought it would be a great topic to talk about how to use active products together, because there is a lot of misinformation online, a lot of fear mongering, wouldn't you say?
A lot of fear mongering, a lot of opinions.
Lots of opinions, yeah. I think it is, not judging, but I just am aware that there are a lot of opinions about skin from people that don't know about skin. There's a lot of opinions about skincare, how to use skincare, but no awareness of skin physiology. So of course, follow whoever you follow, but we are trained to know the skin and the layers of the skin and how ingredients work in the skin. So that's our specialty, that's our expertise, is to, as an esthetician, help people get results, help people figure out their skin, and know the organ we're using and dealing with so that we keep the skin safe, and that we also know what we have to do to reach a certain level of the skin so that people actually benefit.
Right,
and get a result. See results, yeah.
When I first met you, you really opened up my world, because coming from aesthetics, you learn something and you learn what you take from school, and it's to keep you safe a lot of times. But when I met Cody, and I think that's why you are able to get the results you do, because you push the limits.
Yes.
And you really experiment, and you kind of rebel against what a lot of the books say, and a lot of it could be outdated information. And I think it's through that process of experimenting and being creative and free, which is what you find to actually really work and be the truth.
Yes.
So
thanks for saying that. Not for me, but our industry is creative. Estheticians sometimes don't realize that this is a very creative art. This is art. The skin is your canvas. Yeah. And there are no rules in the sense, except keep them safe.
Right.
And know what you're doing so you keep them safe. Yeah. But once you know what you're using, the pH of it, and skin, once you know skin, you can use anything. You see, I saw a video the other day. This is what I find to be so baffling about this. And it comes from some dermatologists. So I know dermatologists want to throw shade at estheticians that they might not know much or whatever. What do we know? We just wash faces. But we do have a place here, and we have a benefit here because we're obsessed with skin. We do know, not as much as a derm, but we do know a lot of different things. And one thing that we have to learn as estheticians is, if what I'm doing isn't working, what can I do differently? What do I need to know? What do I need to learn? Who do I need to study from? Is this the only way I can achieve results? Because there's a lot of don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. Even in our industry, professionals, oh, you can't do that. Well, why not?
a lot of limitations, it feels like.
A lot of limitations.
Yeah.
So I've heard time and time again, don't use salicylic with retinol. Don't use glycolic with salicylic. Don't use vitamin A with glycolic or salicylic. I mean, I'm bored.
I know, the list goes on.
Yeah, I mean, we literally can put 20 different ingredients on a client in one service, you know?
And all of them.
And all of them.
Often could be all of them, too.
People will say, well, I can't use that product. Or somebody will say, a dermatologist will say, you can't use the salicylic with the vitamin A. Well, why is it then compounded in the formula you made? Also, why are we treating people like they're dumb? They're not. People are very smart. And it's not what they're doing, it's how they're doing it and what they're using. So a broken skin barrier is like the hot topic right now. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a broken skin barrier, girl. The reasons why they have a broken skin barrier are the very reasons. It's like the reason somebody has a broken skin barrier is because of the advice that they're learning from others on how to treat their skin, over moisturize their skin, use a lot of moisturizer with your skin. If you have a broken skin barrier, use more moisture, use Aquaphor, soothe your skin, comfort your skin, and all of those things will just make your barrier even more broken and stay broken for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. It's actually stimulation that causes a regeneration of a new skin cell that's not reactive. So if you just moisturize your broken skin barrier every day, nonstop, and don't do something to activate a new skin cell that makes it stronger and more tolerant, nothing changes. I think the thing to remember is this, is you can achieve a lot more results at home, but there are a lot of gatekeepers that are trying to keep people to either see them as a professional or to have so many little rules and to be so rigid that you feel confused and then you don't do your regimen because it seems like it's rocket science, and it's not rocket science. And a lot of people aren't going to get the results or the skin that they want because they're not hitting it hard enough. And a lot of the industry is be cautious, be careful, don't do too much, blah, blah, blah. But then go to a dermatologist and do a 30% TCA pill and laser resurface your face.
And microneedling.
And microneedle, all in one service. Yeah. All in one service. Don't use baking soda on your face, but I'm going to laser you and do a TCA pill. Doesn't that break the pH? Doesn't that traumatize the skin?
That does a lot to the skin.
It does a lot to the skin. So, somebody who works with us was asking about her skin today, and that's what's inspired us to do this live today, which is about, you know, she used a lot of vitamin A recently, and she wasn't sure if she could do a service today. We decided not to do one on her because she just, I could feel, didn't want one.
She felt too irritated.
Too irritated.
I totally get it.
So, have you ever had that experience where you're using vitamin A and you're just not able to use other products, or are you feeling like you're not able to use other products because you're using vitamin A?
Vitamin A, aka retinol, retin-A, tretinoin, anything in that family. Differin.
Yeah, those are all retinoids.
Or retinoids.
Retinoids. They are a part of the vitamin A family. Retinoic acid is the acidic form of vitamin A.
The
prescribed form.
Version.
It's what's in your skin, retinoic acid, that gets converted into retinol. So when you put vitamin A, just retinol on your skin, it's a derivative of the retinoic acid. It has to convert into retinoic acid back into retinol. So that conversion, people are obsessed with less conversion. They don't want so much conversion. But sometimes you need the conversion so that you have less irritation. That conversion and the time that it takes for that conversion to occur in the skin, sometimes you need that and want that so that you can keep someone compliant. But people go, no, I just want to use the vitamin A, the retin-A, the prescription strength. Then they get irritated, they don't stay compliant, and then they don't get results.
Tips to deal with broken barrier and acne prone.
Acne prone. Okay, so great question. So this is the question. This is a beautiful question because it's trying to help us figure out the cause. You want to figure out the cause of the barrier issue and how to fix it. I'm feeling that the barrier issue is being caused by what the person is putting on their skin. Someone who's acne prone, benzoyl peroxide, that kind of stuff can cause issues with your barrier over time. So,
meaning too drying, which can also create irritation plus.
Well, there's a difference between sensitivity and a broken barrier, and most people are thinking that their sensitivity is a broken skin barrier. Your broken skin, it takes a lot, just so you know. I know a lot of people would maybe disagree, but we literally will peel off people's skin, how many layers of skin, and do pills on them. So it takes quite a bit to really traumatize the skin where the barrier is compromised. What happens when the barrier is compromised, it's permeable. And so then things can leak in that aren't normally leaking in. Acids, products, anything and everything. So now you're sensitive to it because it's permeating the skin. The barrier is designed like a little sealant of like a little duck's feather to keep all out invaders, everything.
To protect.
So when you are over treating your skin or using the wrong thing on your skin type, it doesn't mean it's the wrong product. It's the wrong product for you. That's the difference, right? We have a habit in the industry to just bastardize products and say it's a bad product. Like benzoyl peroxide. It's not bad. It's if it's overused, it's bad. And if it's not keeping your skin safe in the sun, yes, it can be bad. Benzoyl peroxide isn't terrible. Overusing it can make it terrible, just like any ingredient, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like, too, it could be a timing thing. Like, maybe not the right time for this specific product because of whatever is going on with your condition.
Real quick, back on the tip for the broken barrier with acne-prone skin. With that, use a lot more water, glycerin-based products to flood the skin with hydration. And then comfort and soothe the skin after the acne product is put on. So maybe adding a little moisturizer after the benzoyl or the vitamin A or something can comfort the skin a little bit. But in the end, what will actually help the barrier become better is vitamin A in the long run. It will strengthen the skin, regenerate a new skin cell, and then not have that layer on the surface be permeable.
Oh, would you also say maybe buffering? Like if they're feeling, you know, a broken barrier, but still need to work on the acne?
Great tip.
So,
what is that?
Oh, so you can buffer your skincare, whether it means to use like less of a product, less time, or you can add, for example, we have our extreme moisture repair mask, which we can apply and then put our treatment on top and work it in that way. Or you can use your gentle cleanser and then, you know, maybe put your exfoliant or something on afterwards too on top of it to kind of create more of a, kind of as like a middle.
Yeah, your buffer.
A buffer.
Yeah, a buffer.
Yeah, so that way it's less potent and less active on the skin.
Yeah. And then just make sure you're not over exfoliating, as well as derma rolling and doing. It's usually not what people are using, it's how they're using it, or they're just using the wrong percentage or strength or something. Usually is what's happening. Like this idea of skin cycling, people keep asking what I think about it. It makes me bored. That's what I think about it, because it's trying to create a cookie cutter approach to skincare again, which is how we got in all this mess years ago, which is like Clinique saying their skin types. I mean, the majority of what people think is their skin type isn't true. It's really a marketing thing to sell you a product. So if your skin is oily, use this. If it's not dry, use this. And what that's done is actually made people have terrible skin, because they're also using the same shit they did when they were 20 and now they're 40. Because this is it. I was dry, my T-zone.
This is my category.
This is my category. I'm always dry, or I'm always oily. And you're missing out on a lot of other active ingredients that are actually extremely beneficial, because you're stuck in a rut of this is my skin type and these are the only things I can do and use.
You said it perfectly. Okay. Yeah, you said it perfectly.
So the skin cycling, the reason I have an issue with that, it's funny, they just sent me a thing to be an affiliate with them, that doctor. They have some PR team reach out to me, and they said they love my work and would love to promote her skin cycling and her products. I had no idea she had so many products. I just think that's a little eye-opening, a little bit, because I'm like, she's brilliant, because she created a cycle, a system around something that isn't new to try to get people to be better with their skin. So I'm not mad at that. What I'm a little concerned with, and not mad, it's a concern, is that this creates a cookie cutter approach, skin cycling. You exfoliate one night, vitamin A the next night, then you rest for 2 days. So my question to you is, if you are losing weight and you need to lose 40 pounds and you go to the gym every day, do you work out vigorously for 2 days and then rest for 2 days? Do you vigorously work out at the gym and then rest for 2 days?
No, most people go like 5 days a week.
5 days a week, maybe 1 day of rest.
Maybe 1 day of rest.
Right?
Yeah.
So this idea that you need the rest for 2 days, so if you exfoliate, you're going to have a dead skin cell come off. And then you use vitamin A, you're going to stimulate a new skin cell to produce.
Right.
So you're taking an old one off and producing a new one. Now you rest for 2 days and you moisturize, hydrate, moisturize, hydrate. What are you doing?
Kind of just going back a little.
Well, you're stopping the exfoliation that you just turned on with the exfoliation from the first day and then the vitamin A the second day. You're literally stopping what you're doing. You're trying to get the damage off, exfoliate, turn on a new skin so it's healthy and vibrant, but then you suppress it and stop it because you're moisturizing for 2 days.
I must be off the grid or something, because the skin cycling, now that you explained it, I'm like, oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
It's a thing this doctor, I can't remember her name, Strom or something, created, and it's just causing people to, I think it's causing people, they're going to get lazy with their skin. There's no one size fits all. And if you want a one-size-fits-all, then you're probably really got good skin, good genetics, and you don't need to worry about this. But the majority of us that are trying to work on our skin to look our best and have to actually do something every day instead of wake up with a thought, like a prayer, and they have good skin, us people can't listen to advice like that, because that'll just make our skin terrible.
I can. If I stop, my skin will not forgive me. It's like I have to keep going. That's That's a great analogy. I like that you always use either cooking or working out, and that makes sense. Like, in order to get results, you have to just keep going. Yes, you do need rest, because you know,
but you're resting when you sleep.
There you go. There's that too.
We need a lot of rest in America.
Yeah, we do.
We're very resting. We need lots of rest. Lots of rest.
You see everyone walking around, they're lacking that, so.
It's like if a client comes here and they do a peel, and then we tell them to moisturize heavily every single day, the results are just going to be minimized. So, are skincare tools necessary and add in your regimen? Are they necessary? It depends on the tool. Do you want to chime in? It depends on the tool. It depends on the quality of the tool.
Depends on the goal.
On the goal. And here's the most important thing. Because I'm a customer first, and I always am thinking on how people do things. That's my thing. It's like figuring out how people really are, like how their behavior is, right? So my question is, are you going to use the device? Because I see everybody buy the device, and then 30 days later, where's she at, girl? Is she in the drawer?
Collecting dust.
Yeah, so if you're a person that is that 1%, I don't want people wasting money, because the device is going to do nothing for you sitting in the drawer. So don't waste your money on a device if you're not a person that's super committed and super serious. And then, of course, you have to do your research, because so many things are just lies these days. But some devices can be extremely beneficial, like LED, amazing for the skin, but you need to make sure it's the right quality device. Nano home devices now. Nano pen, very helpful. Derma rolling in moderation can be beneficial. I don't recommend it necessarily just because I've seen so many things, but I've also seen amazing results. So I want to be fair and in the middle. If you're a person that's called to that, and you want to roll a derma roller once in a while, Jen Amber has some really good ones. No problem. It's the overdoing it that's the issue.
Or, I mean, for stretch marks, I think it's great.
For stretch marks, yeah. Also, what else is another device?
Oh, there's microcurrent, there's radio frequency, there's the LED light, they got oxygen and things that are spitting at you.
Well, what's the one, the New Derm one? Or New Face?
Oh, New Face and microcurrent?
Microcurrent, yeah. So another thing, can it help? Yes. But that's on the people that are doing it like religiously twice a day for 30 days. And then you have to keep doing it.
It's one of those that it has to be consistent, like retinol.
Yep, everything is about consistency.
It's like you're fighting gravity, you know, so you're constantly working and stimulating that muscle.
But I think some of these tools, if you do your research and you're feeling called to them, are very beneficial if you're really consistent with them. Favorite skincare line? Montarbo skincare.
I'm not saying that, and I've tried different skincare, and I'm very picky only because my skin's picky.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I don't. You can read the reviews. I mean,
I'm just.
This is not for somebody.
Experience. Yeah.
Our line is not for everyone.
No.
This is for people that want results. I'm sick and tired of buying shit that doesn't work. And it just works. I mean, I put my name on it. I was in the cosmetic industry. I've been in the industry for years. I always said, I wish, because people would be buying all the shit I would be selling them. And I knew some of it wasn't going to work, but it's the best serum ever. And I felt guilty, ashamed about that. I got out of that industry for a while because I was like, I'm actually part of the problem, not the solution. And I felt like I was just hustling people for another serum.
Yeah.
You know, with our sales quotas at the counter. And then I said, God, if I could create my own line one day, the number one thing is it has to work. It has to work. Like, and why is this even a thing? Like, why is our industry filled with 98% bullshit? And then we find something one day that works and we're like, oh my God, it's amazing, when everything should be working like that. And that we should be shocked at the 2% that's not working. That's the way it should be.
Well, I don't think everybody's intention is the same either. Because you love it.
I want to help people.
You want to help. And not only do you want results for people, but for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, these products are so effective that people aren't coming in for treatments like they used to. That's the truth.
It's true. Like, we use
50% less business for facials because they're using product and getting mind-blowing results at home. They don't need us. We fix what they need. Right? What's left. What they can't do at home.
Well, to be
scars.
honest, this is what we use in our treatment room. We're not trying to like bamboozle anybody. This is like literally what we use. So if they use it at home, I mean, you're just taking it further.
Absolutely. Do we believe in medical grade? Such a great question. Very loaded question. Do I believe in medical grade? For the most part, it's bullshit. It's hyped up marketing.
It's a name or a term.
It's a term in my industry that is, and I know already, estheticians, settle down. You can do your thing. I get to do my thing. There's enough room for all of us here, okay? I've sold all the medical grade. I'm involved in the medical grade industry. It's fine. I say that to preference because I know people, my friends and colleagues, only medical grade works. Nothing else works. Nothing else is good enough. And that's just not true. It's just not true. And a lot of the medical grade is bullshit because there is no more clinical peer-reviewed journals or studies being done unless the company's paying for that. And that's a lot of money. And there's a very gray area with medical, and it's the manufacturing aspect that because it's in a lab that is overseen by medical directors, potentially, possibly, most likely not usually, then they get to use that claim, that saying, medical grade. But it's trying to make people feel that the product could be stronger or more effective, and in a lot of times, it's just not. It's just not.
Well, I was going to ask what's considered medical grade.
That's
it's made in the lab?
We don't really know. It's just that a company is saying that for the most part. Yeah. I can say that. I could.
I believe in good formulas.
Just like Cosmeceuticals, that's my original company name is Montarbo Cosmeceuticals. It still is actually the main hub of the company. So it's Cosmeceuticals is saying similar to medical grade is that these ingredients are more active in this formula. But I try not to tell people that because it's just...
I don't want to add on to that.
It's a big gray area.
Yeah.
It's like saying all natural.
Oh, okay.
Okay? You could say all natural and not have it all natural. It has to be a certain percentage in the product, but you can still say that you're all natural when there's literally not unnatural product chemicals or ingredients.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a lot of loopholes in the industry.
Lots.
So I try not to get caught up in this whole term of like the non-comedogenic or the medical grade or dermatologist tested.
Yeah. There are many great, I wanted to just circle back, many great products at the drugstore. Many great products at the department store. Medical grade isn't everything. Prescription isn't everything. We see people coming with all their prescription skincare, all their medical grade, cystic acne, melasma everywhere.
Can Differin be used instead of tretinoin?
Great question.
Depends on the goal, right?
It's not going to work the same as Tret. It's going to be more beneficial for acne and oil, and it will help with stimulation, a little bit of regeneration, new skin, but it's not going to be the same as tretinoin.
Okay. So
I would also have a retinoid as well, an additional one if possible.
Okay. And then
Differin is mostly for acne.
Okay, Differin is mostly for acne, where tretinoin is a little bit more versatile.
Tretinoin is vitamin A. So
right.
Yeah,
oh, so
it's just more pure.
More pure.
Stronger. It's
Medicated.
the acidic form.
Best products for darker skin tones.
Best products for darker skin tones. That's a great question.
That's a great question because, to be honest, all skin tones can kind of use, how do I say? You could still use the same product someone with less pigment has, but it just depends on how much, how longer. It depends on your skin and its tolerance and how well it's conditioned, whether you can use something or not. Like, you don't want to hurt it, of course, but there's ways you can get it stronger. And I mean, everyone could use sunscreen. I would definitely use sunscreen.
Well, I think there's a misperception about darker skin, actually. So darker skin is extremely fickle, but it's actually very strong. And I think that the products, everyone can use the same products for the most part. It's just that to know your skin physiology is what I think is really important. So on darker skin, the physiology of your skin layers is different. It's thicker on the dermis, so there's more collagen. And that's also why it's more impacted and can cause breakouts, more cystic acne, because the skin is thicker and firmer, and it causes issues with the oil ducts a little bit. The surface, it can be more oily, but not always, and then it's always producing melanin, right? Mm-hmm. So, like kind of what you were saying about the sunscreen. Mm-hmm. So the thing that is really important is to exfoliate darker skin a little bit more than people realize, because they're more sensitive, they don't over exfoliate, they think it's going to cause pigment, but actually the opposite can happen. Mm-hmm. So like we have a lot of our clients using this with mind-blowing results, because they're exfoliating just 2 to 3 times a week with this. They're helping the breakout, the dark spots, and then they're not getting the pigment. So, and then of course wearing sunscreen is very important when you have darker skin, mostly because yes, your melanin is about an SPF of 7, but if you're using products, now you're more sensitive to the sun, just even if you're darker. And now, and darker skin is so genius, because that pigment that's produced is sunscreen, so it's protecting you. So when you take it away, it's going to do it again. It's designed to keep you protected. The melanin is a protection. Yeah. So, but a lot of people aren't getting their skin even when they're darker, because they're just not exfoliating enough, or they're not hitting it a little harder with their skin because it's broken out in the past, it's a little more, it's been sensitive in the past, or a lot of the conversation in the industry is cautious, be careful, you don't need much but like cocoa butters and stuff. Right. And it's like, yeah, but if you're breaking out, you got pigment, you got issues going on with your skin, or more importantly, you just want to have good looking skin for a very long time, sunscreen is the #1 thing you can do, because you're never going to not produce melanin, but when it does produce, it's going to be even. Mm-hmm.
Your skin doesn't have to work so hard, because you kind of have like that umbrella, that shield.
Exactly.
That's taking care of it. And honestly, if you're on point with your sunscreen, I feel like that eliminates a lot of issues that you could potentially see in the future, and including the pigment and existing pigment.
Absolutely.
I'll even like put a little bit more SPF on any little blemishes I have, so I know that it's protected and that's gonna, you know, fade eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a huge trick that most people don't realize. Just putting sunscreen on your skin when you are darker and you get dark spots can minimize by 50% the darkness and the length of time that that dark spot is on your skin, just by wearing sunscreen. Because that spot is attracted to the sun, and the sun will cause more melanin, and it'll become darker, and then it's going to bake in the skin, and then it's going to stay there for 6 months. A dab of sunscreen on there is going to shield that, so that the melanin doesn't produce to become darker.
It allows it to heal way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do want to say this too. I know I'm kind of rambling on this topic, but we have mostly darker clients in our business and friends, and so we're always helping all the melanin. We just love melanin. I think that's our obsession a little bit. It's just because I feel like it's more of a challenge for me to work on darker skin. And I really have to be intuitive with it and really make sure I'm checking in, because it seems like it might be tolerant, but then it can be easily reactive to something. Something though, because the skin is thicker, it's more oily and it's more potential for compacting in the skin, it's important to also use vitamin A. And because the vitamin A on darker skin works a little, it doesn't work differently, it works. Because part of the issue is the compaction in the dermis, which is where the follicle is coming from. When you put vitamin A on the skin, on darker skin, it just will keep that follicle open so that it doesn't get compacted. So it just is really keeping the health of the cell going, the follicle channel open, the surface very nice and blended color of melanin, not overly dark in any area. Then the vitamin A, when your skin does produce melanin, it's scattering it versus being overly populated. So
in one section. Any recommendations for PCOS acne?
Great question. PCOS acne is tough. So PCOS, insulin resistance, is I think a lot of people are dealing with this without realizing it, and it's because also if you go get your blood sugar checked, they don't check for the resistance part, they just check for the glucose, if your glucose is regulated or not. And so I think that the biggest thing to consider if you have PCOS is your gut health and what you're putting into your mouth. And I know that might seem strange to say, but sugar can cause a huge issue with insulin resistance, causing leaky gut, causing PCOS, it just doesn't cause it, it triggers it. So keeping the alcohol down, keeping the gut clean, having a clean diet, those are important things to do anyway, but also more importantly if you are struggling with PCOS. I've even done a lot of research into intermittent fasting. Of course, seek your medical doctor's advice, but there's a lot of research coming out that's been proven now about fasting or skipping a meal, and what that does for your hormones and PCOS, because when your body's in a little bit more of a starvation mode, you're also not running on glucose, so you're running more on ketones, and that's really important if you're dealing with a lot of inflammation or cysts or fibroids and stuff like that, or just potentially even prone to cystic acne.
Oh, and notice that we're talking a lot more about internal health because that's the source. You know, not always. I mean, of course, skincare external can help, but I mean, that's not going to fix what's going on inside if you're not addressing that and what's going on, you know, with the imbalance there, like what. And there's a lot of testing too, and some of it can be confusing because I've had clients where they get their hormones checked and everything looks normal, but for sure they're experiencing symptoms of PCOS. Yeah, we have somebody who works with us had this similar situation. Their normal doctor said they were fine, then they had to go to a naturopath and get it checked, and that's how they found it. So I'm just saying that now, no shade to all the medical companies, but shame on you a little bit for like really not helping people figure things out before they become a big issue. I'm just saying, I have Kaiser and I'm over it because I got my hormones checked there. They said they were fine. Then I had another person test them, and they're like, they're severely low. Your testosterone, basically you're transitioning, girl, okay? Like my testosterone is so low. I was wondering why I didn't feel right, you know? You feel off.
Yeah, and so I had to get a second opinion, but how many people can't afford that, can't do that, won't do that, don't even think about doing that, you know? So trust yourself, give yourself more credit. You're intuitive, you know yourself very well, and so if something doesn't feel right, or if you're talking to a provider or a doctor and something doesn't feel right, trust yourself, get second opinions, third opinions, and get the help you need until you feel like you're getting the answers you want and need, because that's the time we live in. We live in a time where you can get info in 10 seconds, but the info that you need for you and what you're experiencing sometimes takes a little longer than 10 seconds to figure out or to discover.
It's like finding your glam squad. You go through a few people to find the right match, that they listen, they hear you, and you get what you want. I'm
trying skin cycling. Don't feel it gives me enough nights using retinol. I'm concerned about skin cycling. I think the intention is fine. I'm not trying to throw shade at the creator. I think she's brilliant for trying to think of a new way to talk about the same thing over. But it's a cookie cutter approach to skincare. So can some people benefit from cookie cutter approaches to skincare? Yeah, people that don't have issues. They don't really have to think about it. They have good skin. But for those that are struggling, those that have issues, those that are trying to fix things before they become something, those that are trying to prevent aging, those that are trying to ride into their 60s and 70s, not looking like a mannequin, but looking healthy, being healthy, then for us, we got to do a lot more. And the skin cycling is making people, it has, I think, the potential to make people even more lazy with their skincare. We are more about being a dash more aggressive in a friendly way, stepping it up, training for that marathon. And so I think skin cycling isn't going to be effective for most people, because those 2 days of rest, a lot happens in those 2 days of rest. When you exfoliate one day, stimulate the next day, and then rest for 2, you now stop and slow down all the work you did from the first 2 days. So what would be an analogy? Like you go train for a marathon, you're training for a marathon, but you never run the marathon.
Like you run for the, first 2 days, but then you stop the next 2, then kind of, I feel like that you lose your momentum a little. So it would be almost the same concept. I could see this being okay for someone just first starting off on skincare and that has not stimulated their skin.
Or super sensitive.
Super sensitive. I could totally see the reasoning and the benefit for that. But most people, I feel like we need kind of that constant push so our skin knows like we mean business and that we're trying to change and create some results here. I think it's all about stimulating the skin.
Yeah.
Should acne-prone skin be exfoliated every day?
Not necessarily. It depends on the exfoliant. Definitely not a scrub. Probably every other day, unless it's a mild exfoliant and you're not having any issues. Over-exfoliating acne can definitely lead to sensitivity.
Right. It's funny, too, because we've had clients where like, oh, yeah, I do this every day, and they seem completely fine. So,
yeah.
It's, you know, if you worked up your skin to be so advanced, it's okay.
So if you overly moisturize after a chemical peel, you're going to suppress the exfoliation you just paid for. So you want to moisturize, but don't overdo it. Unless you have a specific peel that your provider is telling you otherwise. We just specialize in peels. We do all different types. And in 20 years of all my recommendations, I finally realized that actually don't over moisturize because you're paying for the exfoliation. And then if you suppress it too much with lots of moisturizer, Aquaphor and everything, you're just not going to get the full effect of that exfoliation from the peel.
You want to encourage some of the dryness and that sloughing to occur that week because you're trying to work on the skin.
Would you recommend La Roche-Posay for active acne? Absolutely. La Roche-Posay is fantastic. Their adapalene is also very good for acne.
Someone else asked if you do Botox. He hasn't done Botox since like last December.
So I've just been doing my skincare. I'm not moving very much on my face. I've been doing vitamin A through here. This is mostly, I think, the vitamin A. I did pads and elixir yesterday. And then today I did glow cleanser, mask, elixir. And then, last night I did retinol. Most of this, I feel like healthy look is from just my regimen recently. And then vitamin A. I've been putting a lot more vitamin A. See that little divot under my eye? I'm trying to prove, and I have a before video of what I'm kind of trying to prove. Because I think sometimes people think I'm just full of shit trying to sell product. But like, I always tell people, put more vitamin A in the temple and on the cheekbone through here, not right underneath because you don't want vitamin A in your eye, but by putting it through, see how my cheek is getting really plump now? I just love it. It's through me putting vitamin A everywhere, and then I'll put a little bit more here and a lot more right here to create a more rounding effect like they would if they were to put filler in my face. They would put some here and through here to create kind of like a little boomerang, like a little rounding effect.
That way it just kind of supports everything here, and then the product travels too, right?
Exactly.
So they still get an eye treatment as well.
Yeah, because you don't want to look too heavy or have too much volume here. And if you put vitamin A right underneath, you're going to generate new skin there, but then you're going to have a lot of loose skin right there. You want the skin to be tighter through here to pull it.
Oh, what are your thoughts with skin peels? Like chemical peels?
Chemical peels, that's what we specialize in. We love them.
I mean, I'm for it. It just, I guess, depends on the product or what is called a skin peel. I noticed some products are a little misleading.
Yeah, real quick. Anytime I use a retinol, even at low dose, when I sandwich with lotion, my skin gets half.
Oh, super dry.
Doesn't that mean I can't use retinol? Is there another option to get smaller benefits too? Oh, great question. Vitamin A. Okay, guys, if you're not using vitamin A consistently every other day, putting it into the skin, you're never going to achieve the results and the potential that it can offer you. So putting it on once a week is not effective. It just will exfoliate a little bit. It's the compounding effect through putting it on, so it gets in deeper, more in the skin, more volume gets in the skin. That's what it's about. You're putting more in the skin cells, so it's absorbing more. That's why when you stop using vitamin A, for up to 4 months, you need to be mindful because your skin will still be thin and you can rip off your skin when you do your eyebrows because it's still in the skin. So if you don't keep putting it into the skin, then you're really not getting what it's really made for. So I say that to you because Either you need to find a better formula that you can use, that you'll want to use so it's less irritating, because it's less irritating, or you have to push over the hump of the irritation and keep using it and use it more frequently. That will stop eventually. It can take up to 6 weeks depending on the percentage, the formula, and how much you're using.
But yes, to answer your question.
I didn't answer the question. Sorry,
no,
girl.
you did. But dryness is normal to receive as a side effect.
Yes.
So you want to just push through that. If it's uncomfortable, continue sandwiching, maybe doing more moisture, or if you do have to take a little break, do that. But you know, try to include it at least 3 times a week to build up that compound effect so you can continue getting those results, because that's the point of you using it and going through all this.
Yes,
so you just got to do it.
You know what will happen is this. If you really start to see the benefit of those 3 times a week, you're going to want 4 and then 5, because your skin, bitch, is going to look so good from that one ingredient that you're going to be like, why not use that? If that's the one thing that's making me look so much more plump and youthful and glowy, why not just use that? And that starts to kick in 4, 5 nights a week, some people 6, 7. So I feel vitamin A should be the main thing you're using to get. A staple. Yeah.
And to also answer, like, it depends. So if you're using a formula that's prescribed and acidic, and if you're feeling like that's just not a good match for you and your skin because it's so irritating and you just can't, retinol. Retinol's another option that is non-acidic, and you can get, you know, with most skincare lines. I really love ours because it's
effective but not irritating,
and it's friendly. And for me, I personally like that version because I don't think I can stand that massive irritation.
Yeah.
So
we have a lot of different products in the spa that we don't have online, just so you guys know. So we have several different retinoids that we offer in the office but not online, and mainly because they're irritating and we want more direction with the customer. We might start actually, I think we should start offering more stuff online, products. I think people would be shocked to know the different stuff we can offer them. But we have a lot of different ones, and we use ours mostly because it's effective, but it's not irritating. Wait till you see the new one coming out, girl. Best under eye wrinkle other than retinol? Great question. Glycolic acid. Glycolic acid works similar to vitamin A without the irritants, and peptides and growth factors. But you still want the glycolic to stimulate like vitamin A. That's the only thing that will actually make the wrinkle less. The only reason I look like I have less wrinkles is because I'm putting a lot of product here. I'm working this area. I'm putting vitamin A. I'm really working on this area. If I didn't do the vitamin A, it wouldn't look like this.
I feel like it's never like one thing. I feel like different formulas and ingredients tie in together to do each function.
It's just like food. Like a soup, a good soup has multiple ingredients in that soup. And okay, maybe if you didn't put the carrot in that soup, it wouldn't ruin the recipe. But if you don't put the chicken broth in there, it's going to ruin the flavor, right? Or if you don't put enough salt, it's not going to taste very good, even though it has all the ingredients. Right? Sometimes it's just one thing. A dash of salt changes the whole thing because now you're like, I can taste it. Right? Most effective products to use for fungal acne. I would use tea tree oil. Try some tea tree oil first. Try some tea tree, lemongrass, clove oil. If that doesn't work, fungal acne is tough. A keto kind of shampoo they can offer you sometimes. With glycolic acid under the eye. Thin the skin. Yeah. So here's a great question. We got to go after this. When you use vitamin A or glycolic alpha hydroxy, it thins the epidermis. Everybody's worried about thinning the skin. It doesn't matter because you're also thickening the dermis at the same time. So you're only thinning the part that's already dead and that's coming off anyway. So you're not like thinning the skin and then left with thin skin. You're just left with skin that isn't so much buildup on the surface is all that's happening. And then in the dermis, you're building more collagen, so it's getting thicker in the areas that matter most anyway. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
All right, guys, we love you so much. Thank you for being with us today. Feel free to ask your questions about future videos in the most recent video I just released. Thank you for letting us be with you always. We love you. You guys are so amazing, so badass. And I just really am grateful for the connection we feel. I love all the love. I love all the different ages. So just ending with this, remember to be kind and gentle with yourself. Remember to know that your skin is amazing. It's genius. It's the most amazing organ. So whatever you're dealing with, babe, acne, pigment, dark spots, melasma, wrinkles, feeling like you're looking older, you're going to fix it. It's going to be fine. Remember that we love who you are, and what you bring into the world, not how you look. If you look good, that's a bonus, but who gives a shit? What matters most is that you feel good, you respect yourself, you honor yourself, you appreciate yourself every single day. So thank you for letting us do that for you today, and thank you for giving us such love and positivity and support here, because it does make a difference. Your love, your kindness, your energy that you bring to us, we see it, we feel it, and we're very grateful for it. Thank you. All right.
Sweet.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Bye.
All right, good job. So great. These people are amazing. How do I turn it off? Oops. Sorry. Perfect. Good job.
We could have gone on all